Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5 Count. I'm John Edwards, alongside my partner in crime, Big George. Big George, how you doing?
Lord in charge. Hold on.
That's for sure.
Before we say anything else, not even 15 minutes removed, I'm going to scream it because we back in this thing. Detroit basketball. Let's go. Pistons back up in the series. Let's come back. Hey, Cunningham had a great night. 37 points. And maybe more than that. I just stopped watching at that point because it was over. It's nothing you can do when Kane scores over 35 points. So that's where I'm at tonight. I'm feeling high, on everything right now. So,
well, beautiful. And tonight, George, we got special guests. We got GB. We got Dudek from the Burgh Cave, repping that Steel City, Pittsburgh, obviously.
Yes, sir.
And they're gonna, George. We're gonna dive. Let's dive right in about the draft. So, guys, you were. I don't know if both of you were there, but it was in your town, so it had to be awesome. But we got to know the Pennsylvania on Pennsylvania crime, I'm calling it, where the Eagles moved up. They had him on the phone, for God's sakes. They had him on the phone. And he moved up the Makai Lemon situation. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. But tell us about the draft. And wow, what a wild one.
Real quick, I'll say something because I was actually in the theater. GB was actually, I think, sitting in the stadium and stuff watching us. I was in the theater, and there was everybody was saying lemon because we saw Dallas on the board because obviously they didn't need a receiver. And we were talking, and as soon as we saw the logo flip, they were like, well, there goes Lemon. I immediately picked the Cooper Jr., but we'll get into that too. But GB had some really interesting thoughts last night when we were on the Burgh Cave part about Lemon, but also even what he believes Lemon and the fit for Philly is, right?
Yeah. So I was initially upset about it for a couple reasons. Number one, because and it was weird because you in the stadium, like you could hear like the robotic tone of the announcements when trades happen, right? And it happens far before anything else happens on television, right? So you're catching that. So what you saw was it says Dallas has moved up to 20, has traded for 20. We're like, oh shoot, man, we got Lemon. This is a done deal. They're not taking a wide receiver. We got Lemon for sure, right? And it wasn't even 3 minutes later. It says Philly trades for the 20th pick, and everybody kind of looked at each other, Steelers fans, like, oh no, they're absolutely going to take Lemon. Now I was mad because they took him, but B, I also don't feel like Makai Lemon's the right fit for that offense with with the quarterback that they have and everything. I just didn't. He need a big boy. He don't need a little slot guy. They're gonna, because AJ's going to be out of there real soon, and I just don't know if he's an outside guy. So I don't know if he's going to fit that mold. I thought he fit our mold better just because we got the two big boys on the outside with DK and Michael Pittman, and then you put him in the slot, he'd be a slot demon, and man, we'd be really rolling. But long story short, man, Big Max, we are all in on Big Max. I actually feel like this is a blessing in disguise, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we good over here, man. I promise you. And the fact that we got Jeremy Bernard is, it's okay. It really is okay. And I really do hope Makai Lemon play just like Nelson Aguilar in Philly. I hope he do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you real quick, John, is we've definitely have already pivoted to and excited about Max. And I didn't like the fans, though I kind of got it at first about, oh, it's embarrassing. I hate the word embarrassing. No one's embarrassed.
Yeah, nobody's embarrassed.
The people were embarrassed that maybe they lost some Vegas money on the pick or something. I don't know. But I do think it's a blessing in disguise, which, I think it's a better fit. And like GB and I said on our pod for a long time now, the Broderick Jones neck surgery is real. That injury is real. And for them to – and I think that was a solid plan B. I believe Lemon was number 1 on the board, and I believe Max was 2.
Yeah.
And it was a quick pivot to Max. And then obviously Jeremy – and you saw how important Jeremy Bernard was because they traded up for him in the second round.
Yeah. Let me add one more thing to that. If the tables were reversed and we actually did get Lemon, we would probably still be talking about who's going to be one of our tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that the draft fell after that, like there was nobody available that at least would have been, projected as a day one starter like Max can be if necessary, right? Because if Broderick's not going to play or if he's going to be unhealthy, they're going to move Falatani to the left side and Max is going to start day one. So he was the last of those day one projects too. So I know that I know that it definitely is a blessing in disguise, especially when you may be dealing with protecting a 42-year-old quarterback.
We were talking on a guys' night. That's where we kind of first connected. And you were saying about the key to this draft of the Steelers was those 3 third-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they did?
I was not happy with Drew Aller, though I see why they picked him. I thought that they got good value with those picks, but nothing really hit home runs for me. But the big question really is Drew. I do think Dunker is going to be he's already a celebrity in Pittsburgh. Let's not be with the Ginger Yinzer they're already calling him right now. He's going to compete for that left guard spot that Sumalu left for Arizona, what we call Pittsburgh West, I believe. That's where he went, right? Arizona.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, we call it Pittsburgh West. So,
Iowa.
It's obviously going to be Aller or Howard. We'll see what McCarthy can do developmental wise if Aaron Rodgers does not come back, but I believe he's coming back. So it's good value right now, but also it could remain to be seen with Aller. I like I said, I was kind of surprised they picked him.
I was a little bit surprised too. We did a 7-round mock the week prior on our pod, and we actually picked. We thought that the Steelers were high on Cole Payton from South Dakota State because they brought him in for a visit along with Aller and I think it was Taylor Green from Arkansas. They brought in for a visit too in the top 30 visit, and I think there was a couple other guys. So we actually thought it was going to be Payton, but if you look at the mold of what Mike McCarthy says is an AFC North quarterback. It's a big dude with big hands that can play in the cold, right? And even though, look, as far as Drew Aller is concerned, he wasn't my pick either. But I understand why he has an elite arm. And when you have an elite arm and you're 6'5" and you're 235, 240 pounds, that stuff just doesn't grow on trees, right? And Mike McCarthy has a body of work of doing it, whether it's a day one guy like Aaron Rodgers, developing that quarterback, or a day 3 guy like Dak Prescott. He's done it all. So he knows how to develop quarterbacks. So that's, as Steeler fans, even though it wasn't the guy that we felt that – because there's already – you talk about Pennsylvania on Pennsylvania crime. Penn State fans – oh my gosh, it's nasty right now. It's a civil war. It's a civil war in Pennsylvania right now. Just because Pitt fans are mad because they picked Aller, because he's from Penn State. So and then the Penn State fans was mad when the Steelers picked Kenny Pickett. So it's just a lot of crazy animosity going on in addition to the actual pick being polarizing in its own right.
And I'll add quickly, Dalen Everett, the DB out of Georgia. Yes. I love that pick, and I love it. It's not a right now pick, but you guys, when you watch the combine, you guys know that it's not like the be all end all, right? But what the combine does, it makes you go back and take a look, see, like, wait a minute, like, wait, I didn't think the guy was that good, or wait, I didn't think he was that bad, like athletically. What really jumped off the table for me with Dalen Everett was his ball skills that he displayed in the combine, and the fact that he was 6'1", 200 pounds, and ran a 4.38.
4.38.
I'm like, wait a minute. So I think this is a value pick. He reminds me of Ike Taylor, but maybe who could catch, because Ike Taylor couldn't catch anything. And it's a little bit of insurance policy in case Jamel Dean's 28, going to be 29, our free agent signing from Tampa. So I assume Joey Porter Jr. is going to get his contract, and maybe you're looking at a Dalen Everett, Joey Porter Jr. combination down the road.
No doubt.
That'd be cool. That would be really cool. Some of y'all's draft picks, I really do think that will. So just to be 100% honest, that first round of the draft, nobody planned it. After Mendoza, literally right after Mendoza, every pick that you almost seen was wide open busted. Because nobody seen Bailey going to the Jets. Everybody had it pegged for Arvell Reese.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so right then and there, everybody can take your draft boards and toss them on fire because the show was starting. So us trading up shouldn't have shocked nobody, but us trading up for who we traded up for.
So, yeah, I got a question for you guys too. I mean, what did you guys? I think, and I do think that the Jets threw a curveball in there too. I think the big curveball was the Cardinals taking Love. When that happened, so I'm sitting there thinking. I was talking to my buddy, Harry, right next to us. I'm like, man, there's just some weird shit that's about to happen. Like some players are going to fall. And like I said, I thought you guys were going to get Bane when you went at 9 there too. But
that's what everybody thought.
Love.
I was like, the Carnell Tate one kind of threw me too. Mm-hmm. I was that one as well. But Love, what I wasn't surprised because the Cardinals need everything. Let's be honest. Like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they do.
Everything you got, just take the best player available, and he's probably it. But when we moved up, I was like, I think I was like everybody. I'm like, we're gonna get Bane. This is Bane. It's got but that's where that's why most of us play Madden, and he's the real general manager because they said they targeted him for 4 weeks.
John, but do you think that you guys think that getting Woods is I don't want to say it's like a it's a secondary prize, but I mean, Woods can be just as effective as Bane. And some of them, I mean, he's a different player, right? But maybe more that inside presence versus the outside. What do you guys think? But
he can rush outside. Like he's versatile like that. Yeah.
I
George,
feel like
I know you like Woods.
So here's the thing. I'm all in. Look, I'm D-line, O-line. Everybody else y'all can have. But in between the hashes, I feel like we have one cornerstone piece that needs to be right where it is. Chris Jones stays right there. Everybody else, you can literally are interchangeable from George Karlaftis on down to the league of them. And I feel like that Peter Woods gives us another defensive tackle that can give you a little bit of burst. He gives you a defensive tackle that you can move on the inside and outside. There's so many packages I can think of right off the top of my head with the defensive players that we do have that kind of get me a little excited. Not going to say, it's going to give us the perfect defensive line that gives us everything, but it gives us a lot more useful pressure. Last year we had Derek Nottie. Last year we had Mike Danner that came in, Charles Omenihu. A lot of these players have, been up there in age and have come off of really, really key injuries in their career as well. So it kind of made it a little bit like they're not moving as fast as they once did. I don't know what their 40 time is, but you can go ahead and cut it in half, baby, because they ain't doing that no more. So at the end of the day, it was just like, all right, we're going to need some youth back in the spots.
Yeah.
And we did this a couple years ago when we got
2022.
Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis, Peter Woods and Mansour Delane. Let's go with it. Yeah. And I'm not mad about it. A lot of the people who you would say we wanted Bane, if you think about what we did and how we've actually had to build our defensive line and seeing how other teams have built their defensive line, like Seattle built their defensive line based off of how they basically need pieces. Like you wouldn't have thought DeMarcus Lawrence would have been what he was on Seattle, but he became a whole different type of defensive line presence. All he had to do was set edges and shut off the edge, and he did that perfectly all year long. Yeah. And that's all he had to do. He didn't have to play inside because Leonard Williams was inside tearing shit up. And so you got the young bulls that they had rotating in and out. It was just like you got your core pieces, Leonard, and then, of course, like you keep going with a new level of like maybe you have some pass rushers that you can easily have kind of move in a little bit. You got linebackers who rush the passer really, really good as well. So it's a lot of pieces that you had moving.
Yeah. I like what we did. I knew we needed defense. I had a feeling, and not only we get Peter Woods, we got R. Mason Thomas, which was different for us because usually Spags likes larger edge rushers, and that guy is fast. He's not. I'm not saying he's the same player, but his ability to bend and get off the line quickly reminds me of Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas was kind of an undersized linebacker who could just his quickness off the line made him Yeah, I don't think he's. I'm not saying he's going to be that player, but his gut instincts. Yeah. And then we got another corner. I mean, Jaden Kennedy, who's like, perfect slot corner for us. He'll slide right in. I mean, I really like what we did. We did a lot, and then we went Emmett Johnson at running back, which a lot of people last year was one of our major issues.
Pick. That's a sneaky good pick, right there, Emmett Johnson.
Oh yeah,
especially when we're trying to we had three things we need to do. Obviously we lost corners. We needed to solidify that. The defensive line, we need to give them something else to look at other than just Chris Jones, because they double team him more than anyone else, and we need somebody else to get home. And then the other thing is I think improve the running back room and add a wide receiver. I think those were the other things we needed. And the running back, obviously Kenneth Walker, which makes us a dangerous team. But now Emmett Johnson, Cyrus Allen. I think we did really well. I think the Chiefs had a really good draft.
Back to your first round picks. Their Kansas City has body types when it comes to their defensive linemen. Like you look at Peter Woods, he is built very much like Chris Jones, right? Mm-hmm. You look at Mansour Delane, he is built very much like Trent McDuffie. So I understand the vision. Like I see the vision, and when you have a D coordinator like Spags, he's going to get the most out of those two guys for sure, and our Mason Thomas and everybody else that they have coming out of there. So it's going to be fun to see how you guys reload, if you will, coming off of a 8-9 season and going into this season. It'll be real interesting.
6-11. Yeah,
6-11.
Yeah, that's the thing about us. Is no, we had injuries on the offensive line and receiver. Yeah, no way.
Hey, 6-11, math, baby. That's not how that.
But I don't know what I was thinking.
But that's the one thing about our team, though, is that the infrastructure is still here. We replaced coaches on offense, running back coach, wide receiver coach. I think we got better there. We got DeMarco Murray as our running back coach. So we really want to improve. The running back room, we hired Eric Bieniemy. Our defensive coach are basically the same. Right. Dave Merritt's like the best DB coach in football. He's like the amount of money the guys he helped coach got this offseason ridiculous. So we have good infrastructure, and plus we have a quarterback. We're not one of these people like, oh, we're worried about the quarterback. No, we ain't worried about that. So I think we just needed, on defense, we needed, like George said, some younger horses and young, fast, physical guys, and that's what we got, because that's the defense we play. And I think I kind of feel sorry for us, and actually I don't feel sorry for them. Is the Broncos, because I have the guy at the weed store I go to is a Broncos fan. And he was like, we didn't do anything. We signed our own guys and basically got no free agents. So I'm like, if you're not evolving in this division, because the Raiders, the Chargers are going to be good. The Raiders will rate it up. But I mean, like the Chiefs, I'm like, we've gotten a lot better. I'd be worried if I were the Broncos.
Speaking of Raiders, not talking about like Raiders business. This is more Steelers business now. How do y'all feel about?
Well, we both hate the Raiders, right? Like that's kind of
no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, indifferent for us, but they're not necessarily a favorite team, right?
No, that's more of a 70s thing.
But how do y'all feel about Patrick Graham coming in as y'all's defensive coordinator? Because of course, the last few years ain't been the best for y'all as far as the defense. Y'all, the talented pieces have been exactly what they needed to be. Right. Cam is going to be Cam. That's just it. Like, I don't give a damn how many gray hairs he shows up to the job with. Give me what you gave me last year, and we ain't got to talk to you. That's just it. TJ, if you can stay on the field and actually produce like you're paid, I'm not saying that you're not, but there's a level of look. That's why. Look, I don't talk about Pittsburgh business. I'm just talking as a football fan. What I see. And look, I watch football just like everybody else, and what I see, like you're paid like you that guy, but when you come on the screen, it's like, all right, I've seen you get blocked, I've seen you get pancaked. You made a tackle here, but it was 10 yards up the field. I don't need that. I need consistent play from the defensive line. But the thing is, there has been a little bit of turnover with y'all's defense. So do you think with the new defensive coordinator, and he's coming from the Raiders, so They haven't been known for the best defenses in the last 3 years either. So at the end of the day,
offenses either. I mean, Jesus.
Well, I'll go quickly. I have something else to say, but I'll let GB go first on this. But I can tell you with the D coordinator and specifically TJ, I'm hoping that he can get a little bit of Max Crosby production out of TJ, but it's also schematic more than anything. One of the things that I know we were screaming about, I'm talking about GB and I, was, TJ, it just stayed on one side. I think he's a player that can move around, and I think if he does move around, it'll be more effective. And last thing before I turn it over to GB is I don't necessarily worrying about TJ Watt with 18, 20 sacks a year. As long as the other three guys elevate their sacks, that is also a product of a TJ Watt being on the field. Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, and now a young Sawyer coming in from Ohio State in his second year. Those guys elevate and they start commanding some schematic things. I think TJ will eat. But GB, what's your thoughts?
I was going to say one thing that, Patrick Graham may not have developed great defenses per se with the Raiders, but he did develop. He made mediocre linebackers into good linebackers. Like and Landon Roberts is one of them, and these are dudes that we used to have. Roberts was another one.
I won't take any Landon Roberts slander. All right,
it's not slander.
No, it's not slander at all.
He just got better. He was better in Vegas than he was in Pittsburgh.
He was in Pittsburgh. It's like when he got from New England, and
Spillane got better when he left Pittsburgh and when he went to Vegas, and that's a byproduct of Patrick Graham. So that's one of the things that Dudek and I caught. Like that's one of the first things that caught our eye when we hired him, because our linebackers, although they have talent, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, although they have talent, we need to
Patrick Queen has gotten lost. He is not who he once was.
He's okay. But here's the thing. We never thought that Patrick Queen was going to be great when he got here. We just needed him to be solid. He wasn't supposed to be. We needed him to be better than Devin Bush with a bad knee. That's what we needed at the time.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. We have been searching for that inside linebacker ever since Shazier's injury.
Shazier, man.
And
yes.
And the way our scheme is,
boy, that ruined y'all.
Yeah, and the way like the 3-4 scheme that we were running, the inside linebackers are really just downhill guys.
Yeah.
Right. They're not necessarily coverage guys, and the Steelers have gotten exposed numerous times with coverages with the inside linebackers. And it's, I think, another reason they signed Peyton Wilson. But Peyton Wilson's not a 3-down linebacker. He's more of a nickel linebacker, and it can run and play. He's very, very athletic. I like that Patrick Graham said he's going to go more of a 2-4-5 base.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if that's the case, and because you guys know, you could still do a 4-man front with Highsmith and TJ, right?
And if you look
what
at
I like about that is
I was saying, if you look at our personnel, it's perfect
exactly
for the 2-4-5, because we quietly picked up Jaquan Brisker. We quietly picked up Darnell Savage. We quietly picked up Jamel Dean to go with JPJ, to go with Deshaun Elliott, to go with Asante Samuel Jr., to go with, like the list goes on and on. We have a plethora of D-backs right now that you can make them. We have big nickel guys, that you can bring in as a big nickel. You got guys who as box safeties and come up against the run. We got guys that play the dime. We got slot corners. We got everything that you need to run the 2-4-5, and that's the part that's really makes.
And real quick before you come in there, is like then you got like Hayward and Cam rotational. You got Harmon, who's hopefully be healthy. He was a beast when he came in last year. He was healthy, from there. And you got a couple other guys that can get like Benton is going to be in a contract year. He's going to want to prove himself, and I like Benton, but I think he was a little bit out of position playing head up on the center at first, and he was getting kind of steamrolled a bit. Once he kicked to that 3 technique and was able to penetrate, man, listen, he was playing
it was miles ahead. He was miles ahead. Yeah. Defensive tackle play really, really goes up when you actually go from defensive tackle to nose. It's really big of a difference. Because if you head up on that center 9 times out of 10, you got to be a strong, thick motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been in there, and you got to be like Casey Hampton was a perfect example of what you want to be. He was going to stop the run. He had perfect reach. He was going to sit in that hole and wait till you figured out what you was going to do. And then 9 times out of 10, a guy that big, he was moving. And so he could come off and rush the passer a little bit and give his defensive end some help. So if y'all get some defensive pressure like that, y'all are really good about drafting the right ends. It's just how can we focus on the middle? Not saying Cam is not it, but I think what Cam is doing right now is he's becoming more of a pass rushing defensive tackle. And at this age, if he's going to do that, then he needs to be more free to move. He needs to be able to kind of move a little bit more. And that's why I like Derek Harmon for y'all, because, of course, he can kind of settle down. Him and Cam can switch out, and then Cam can start being that big Calais Campbell type where he's just too big for you to stop. Because at no point where you're going to stop a player that's too big, but at the same time, you're not going to give him great production. So he's going to do exactly what he does because he's a very good technician.
Hey, Cam might be 36, but he can still bull rush people, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I watched him. Y'all play the Ravens twice a year. And last year, watching him bull rush for Lele is just like one of the funniest things in the world to me because that guy can't block. He blocks as good as I block in my sleep. Like everything's coming in this house.
You guys say we play the Ravens. We say we own the Ravens twice a year because that's what's been going down.
I have friends in different places. I'm not trying to. I still got Thanksgiving plates to make up for, baby.
That to the Ravens fans too. Go run tell that.
Listen,
we own
they gonna see it. They gonna see it.
Before the AFC Championship game with the Ravens. Some of those fans they were like, we have like the best defense on paper. And, and they were confident they were going to win that. And I'm like, we got Mahomes. And
you know what the thing is? The thing, John, with Baltimore, and I think there are some Pittsburgh fans in us too, that they still think we got teams like from those early 2000s years with Ben and Ray Lewis, and that did have the two best defenses in the league. And you know what? Baltimore is always going to be a good defense because they, like Kansas City, what you guys were talking, what GB's talking about, you guys have a type of player. You have an identity. Pittsburgh has the same thing. It's a type of player of identity. And some of our fans are a little upset because we're 10-7, 9-8 every year because we're just so damn consistent. It's just maybe there's a move here and there that should put us over the top. Baltimore's the same way, and sometimes they get that falsified sense of like of being a great defense, especially last year when they weren't. And even though we own Baltimore in a sense of the record, it's still never a blowout. It's just we're able to squeak out those three.
Just always squeak them out.
And it's been cyclical, right? I mean, it is. We just happen to be on that 8 of 10 or 7 of 10 roll right now. So
whooping on them.
A question for you guys about this 9-7 record. I mean, I listen. So Aaron Rodgers, they did this, deal with him. I'm like, and that's the one thing of as a Chiefs fan, you have solace in, even though he was hurt. But is the quarterback position? You know what you're going to get there for the most part.
Yeah.
But like Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he's a 42-year-old quarterback who spends his off season in an igloo eating acid salads. I mean, like, are you confident about that? Like, because you guys haven't had a QB since Ben and drafted a bunch of them. Like Aller, I don't know if he's going to be the guy who's good at Penn State, but I mean, is like even if Rodgers does come back, he's a couple years removed from a big Achilles tear. Although that was the Jets, but nonetheless, is that like, how do you feel about Rodgers?
Let me tell you something. Out of all the quarterbacks since Ben, Aaron Rodgers was our best quarterback since then, and that's no BS. That dude had 25-8 at the end of the day, right? He still put up 25 touchdowns, eight picks. That ain't bad, and especially when you consider the wide receiver core that we was dealing with. Marcus Valdez-Scantling, y'all know something about him. He on the downside.
Yeah, we won a championship with him.
Hey,
we won a championship with him.
That man won a ring.
You won with him, not because of him.
Not because of him.
Wait, hold on. Against
He's all we had.
Against Baltimore, he did have a catch or two.
He had 2 rings with him, actually.
We got dealing with the old Adam Thielen, if you will. Calvin Austin will go with DK. They never addressed the WR2. We always said, what if they just gave Pickens one year with
DK?
With DK, what would that look like, right? So, but we never got the chance to see it. But even with inferior type receivers, he was still able to make things happen. Now you got Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf and Jeremy Bernard to throw to. Listen, man, that's a whole different
And by the way,
That is
you
such a
use
significant
Fryermuth,
upgrade
man.
to what he's different to what he was
Yeah.
dealing with just a year
Good.
ago. What did you say, Dudek?
I said actually use Fryermuth.
And we'll actually use
Yeah.
my man. Absolutely.
Hold on.
Right?
Y'all got a weird tight end situation over there. I kind of like, not gonna lie, because Darnell Washington, I don't give a damn what y'all say. I think y'all should use him a lot more in certain
They will.
packages because, of course, that dude is a freaking monster. Like, I always wanted to be a little bit of a big tight end, just catching over the middle, just laying one of them linebackers. Like, 'cause, you know, if you get a linebacker not moving his feet, I'm running straight at him because he ain't got nothing for me. And Darnell Washington can run over anybody. I've watched. So that's the thing. Y'all's offense was so untraditional, but yet predictable. Because if y'all wasn't going to the tight ends, his name was Gainwell. Okay.
That was it.
And then after that, look, I told John earlier, I was like, Pittsburgh, you know, they are really good for throwing DK Metcalf about 4 to 5 passes. 2 or 3 of those may be 20-yard bombs. And at that, it's just we're trying to make sure that he can get open for the rest of the game.
Get a slant
There's
in there.
nothing else. You might get a slant that might go for 75 on accident. You know, it's just I don't understand what that is. There's no consistency with the quarterback and the number one receiver at all at that point. But
So-
Why haven't you guys drafted one till now? Like all those years, like under Tomlin, why did they never draft a QB?
We did.
Well, they did.
Like-
I mean, they did. They just made mistakes on him.
Yeah,
They did. They made a mistake. Listen, GB and I are old enough. We lived through the 1980s in QB purgatory between Bradshaw and Ben.
No, that was awful.
You guys also know it's not easy until Mahomes. How many quarterbacks you guys go through? If this isn't Amazon, listen, this isn't Amazon where you can just go get a quarterback and deliver it to your house tomorrow.
Right.
Well,
It's
the
a
last
perfect matchup. It's a perfect matchup of the coordinator and the quarterback. And listen, I'm a Pitt guy, and I wasn't necessarily co-signing Kenny Pickett either. But that was a first-round quarterback. So you know, and Mason Rudolph, forget that. But so they tried retread.
Duck Hodges.
Listen, and Tomlin went 8-8 with that dude. By the way,
He sure did.
He was a great
some
coach.
people are football players.
yeah.
Like some people,
But what they tried to do, and I think one of Tomlin's weaknesses, and listen, GB and I love us some Coach T. I mean that's my dude, right? But he had a quarterback developmental problem, so he's like, you know what? I'm just going to go with the vets. I mean, I'm going to take Justin Fields wouldn't have been here until Kenny Pickett threw a little bitchy storm about bringing in Russell Wilson.
Yep.
So, or else Justin Fields wouldn't even been here. So, but they wanted to go Russell Wilson, thinking maybe you can squeeze a couple years out of him, right? Whether we agree with it or not, that's what he was thinking, and that didn't work. So then obviously there's always been an infatuation with him and Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to tell you this, Aaron Rodgers was not the problem last year.
At all.
I can tell you that right now. He was not the problem. The problem is what Big G was talking about was the predictability.
Yes.
Listen, one of the biggest free agent failures we had, because Gabe and I were so excited when we traded for Jonnu Smith. That dude, his route discipline was trash. Trash. You can hear, by the way, the best soundbite in the NFL was when we played in Detroit. When Jonnu Smith was running around the back for like an Indian, Rodgers like, Blue 84, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Jonnu was out there just doing what, and he was constantly running wrong angles. And listen, whether you like Rodgers or not, you know that man's cerebral up here.
He's very intelligent.
That one game against Baltimore, he overthrew him like by about whatever feet. You could tell he flattened that route if he would have kept going on a trajectory. That's where Rodgers was throwing it. There was a lot of these nuances. I'm telling you, I'm not saying Rodgers is going to lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl if he comes back. I'm not saying that. But he was not the problem last year. I could tell you that.
But I will say this, though. We will, if he does come back, I do believe with Brian, I always say his name wrong, our new OC from Minnesota. Yeah, Archulekio.
His name. We'll call
Archie. At any rate, because I have an affinity for Minnesota's offense over the past couple of years. Why? Because they had 3 wide receivers that they could throw to all the time, right? Now we have 3 wide receivers we can throw to all the time. Imagine that. So now we're in a situation where you got a nice 1-2 punch in Jaylen Warren and Rico Dowdle, right? That's going to be a power run game, right? To go with these big tight ends that you're dealing with, you know, and 12 personnel. And we like to do per 13 personnel sometimes too. You know what I mean? Like we like to run that too. But But with the three receivers that we have now, it opens up so much more to make it now unpredictable. And I think that's what you're going to see now under this new regime with Mike McCarthy, who is an offensive guy, by the way, right? And has a body of work of, you know, lighting it up when it comes to having three wide receivers. So
we went the same way though. We were very predictable because we didn't really have a run game last year, and we were going to go to Kelsey, and our wide receivers were hurt, and our offensive line was hurt, and all that stuff. But we got very predictable, and that's why you saw us when Brett Veach, our general manager, when he sees a need, he's going to attack it through the draft and through free agency. And he did that with a run game. And I think that's the biggest thing we're going to see, because we got to take pressure off Mahomes. And you know, the only thing is, will Andy Reid run the ball? But I think that's why Bieniemy was brought in. He won't call plays, but he'll help with game plans. And I think that's, for us, that's why I'm happy we got Emmett Johnson, because it was like, we have another running back that can run it up in there. And like him and Kenneth Walker are going to be great.
Y'all still have Kareem Hunt?
No, he's gone.
Oh, okay. Sneaky fantasy player for me for a couple of years.
Hey, that dude was a touchdown machine. Like, just every year Kareem Hunt played in the Chiefs offense, I feel like he had a shake to get to a championship. And it's just crazy to say, because every year he was actually in our offense, he did really well. Now, as far as the yards production kind of standpoint, that kind of trailed off over the years. It was never going to be his rookie year again where he rushed for 13. Yep. So I'm not going to look for that. But at the same time, his level of production out of the pass and, you know, what he can do on short yardage downs, he was a great running back. I just feel like a lot of his time he got banged up while he was out in Cleveland. To your point about Aaron Rodgers, like, he is cerebral. And that's one thing I feel like is the thing that a lot of teams who would sign him is kind of hanging on. It's not like they kind of need to build a system around him that would be perfect for him to have everything right. Because if that's the case, if he had 2 to 3 receivers to know, all right, you go here, you go here, you go here, and then you see the defense, hold on, you stop this, you go here, you do this, like it was in Green Bay.
Yep.
And they all can do it accurately against the defense, then Rodgers can throw the ball anywhere at anywhere.
Absolutely. And he's back with this coach. And that's why I think it's a full circle. It's a full circle of him doing that.
Didn't work out well with the Jets and Hackett though.
But that's Nathaniel Hackett is crazy.
That's the Jets.
I don't.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully McCarthy can pull something out of him that is something that they know of. Like, I want them to do something sneaky, because I'm not saying that DK Metcalf can be Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, or any of the ones. But, motherfucker, you got talent. And that's easy to see from a mile away. Yes. Let's not waste it. Like, if you can look, his first quarter sometimes was amazing. If I gambled on him, I took the first quarter lines, because he's taking that bitch 60, 70 yards some point in time in the first quarter. Second, third, and fourth, good fucking luck. But at the same time, it's just like, he's a really good receiver, so I don't think that that'll be the problem. I do think with Michael Pittman and some of the draft picks, though, Big Max is so important to y'all, because this is the way the draft actually fell. It fell because I feel like people didn't take the best player available to them. They took what they needed. And that's kind of what you kind of see exactly as far as a thing. Like, Carnell Tate was not the pick for the Titans for everybody else, but Carnell Tate was the pick that the Titans should have took, because let's face it, Calvin Ridley and who? And you really don't have Calvin Ridley. So at the end of the day, and I told y'all on the show last time, and I stand by this, I don't think that Carnell Tate will be the receiver that y'all think he is.
I don't think so either. I'm with you.
And the reason why I say this, he not only because he was a glorified number 2, but I did a little bit more research on my thought. I was just like, why would I say that? Because I know for a fact that it's going to not necessarily be received well. But this is the thing. He's taken 4th overall. He's the number 1 receiver in the draft. At no point should you have anything less than 500 to 700 yards and at least 3 to 5 touchdowns. Not saying that should be your whole year cop-out, but that's where your line is kind of drawn in the sand. Right. If you were to do that in your first year, hey, you deserved everything you got. But if you don't show me in that first year that you're capable of actually growing on what you actually know, because you're not getting an experienced quarterback that's going to tell you exactly what he wants in the NFL. You're getting a rookie kind of sophomore kind of quarterback who's going to have a little bit more of an adjustment because he didn't have receivers like this at all times. So now that he has a couple more, it's going to be a little bit better for him. Mm-hmm. But it's the Titans. So, and the Titans with a defensive head coach, which I don't know how that does for your offensive production because you've seen when he coached other teams with offensive players, i.e. Garrett Wilson, Garrett didn't do that hot.
Yeah, but again,
depends on the OT.
That's the Jets. Dude, you got
Robert Saleh and another Ohio State receiver.
Yeah. Well, you were going to jump in there.
Yeah, you know what? When you're talking about Carnell Tate, and I agree with you on that because I do think he would also have been a great fit as a third receiver. But you're right because anytime I see these glorified wide receiver twos, which is what he was at Ohio State, right? Mm-hmm. Jeremiah Smith might be the number 1 overall pick next year.
No matter
and I think we're all old enough to remember the Alvin Harper thing left from Dallas to go to Tampa, and all of a sudden, nothing. So you're right. I mean, is this because Carnell Tate is not a 4.3 guy? He's not a 4.4 guy. I think he's a 4.6 guy.
4.5, 4.6.
I mean, he knows how to get open. Listen, Jerry Rice was a 4.6 guy, so I don't want to hear it. Speed's not everything, but if I don't know if he's crafty enough to get open in the NFL. Well, we'll see, right? I mean, it's going to be up to him to produce that. Yeah. But you're right. You may see a drop off with Carnell Tate to where he's not a bad receiver. GB and I said this all the time, and I think you guys agree. It's not the player; it's the player plus the scheme
system. Yep.
Yeah,
the system. And I think for what they're going to ask him to do, Big G, you might be on it with Carnell Tate, not necessarily panning out in Tennessee. Yeah. But he could pan out maybe with another team down the road. GB, go ahead.
Big G, I'm with you on that as far as Carnell Tate because in Dudek, I was just going to say the exact same thing. Carnell Tate was never a WR1 at Ohio State. So why all of a sudden he's the number 1 guy in the draft? That never made any sense to me. You know, Emeka Egbuka was the number 1 a year prior. And then you had Jeremiah Smith. He was always the 2. Always.
Chris Olave.
I always felt personally that, and this was the guy that I really wanted was Jordan Tyson because I feel like his game is on a whole different – he's on a whole different stratosphere.
And coached by Hines Ward.
Yeah, and coached by my man Hines it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The position there was always there was a run at the offensive tackle spot too that actually put us in a position where we were going to have to take if we didn't take a tackle, we wouldn't have been able to probably take one that was going to start for us day one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, what we do, we usually make up top 5 lists. So I just wanted to throw it out there. We'll just stick to the first round. We won't make it overly complicated here. But I want to get one pick that you guys like to a certain team, whether it's the fit, whether it's the player to that team. You guys, so Dudek, we'll start with you in the first round. Is there a player that sticks out of a pick that you really liked?
Man, I don't know if I'm not having the board right in front of me, but GB, if you got one right off the top of your head, you can go. Let me look up these first round picks because
take your time.
Yeah, let me look this up here real quick.
George, you got a pick offhand that you like?
Unfortunately, I do, and I think. And the reason why I say unfortunately is because, of course, you know, you can't be happy for everybody else's success because, of course, you want your own. But at the same time, certain teams did make certain splashes that I do feel as if they could actually grow on these, not necessarily this year, but necessarily next year. I'm going to go Kenyon Sadiq to the Jets, unfortunately.
Yeah,
the reason why I feel like they didn't really do anything with Mason last year was like he can't run those routes as if he was a receiver. Sometimes speed is one of the things at the tight end position that you can't buy. And when you run a 4.3 at the tight end position weighing like 230 pounds, I'm just saying, like, give him the ball. I don't even care if he really does a whole lot. Let's just see what he can do. But I do feel as if because they do have a decent comp and quarterback that can kind of, you know, do a little bit of something. I'm not saying Geno is going to be anything spectacular. He's going to give you basic level shit that you can go ahead and perform if you can keep him upright. He's not going to give you. He's a good game manager, and I think that one thing about Geno is that in his career he's accepted the role of I'm just going to be good when I need to be. And he's not mad about that. I'm not mad about that for him. He's always in a system that actually benefits him as far as the gameplay. Last year, they tried to make him something that he wasn't. They tried to make him QB1 to sign him for X amount of years, and that just wasn't going to happen. You had a rookie running back. Your offensive line was going to get your ass chewed up. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's not how you start off with success. So
again, the Raiders.
Yeah. But like I say, the Jets taking Kenyon Sadiq actually opens up their offense a lot. That gives them another pass catcher. It gives them a little bit more leeway to kind of do a little bit more in the pass game. With Breece Hall in the backfield, you kind of have a little bit of a 1-2 punch with the running back situation sometimes. So, of course, he's not going to be always consistent. So you need somebody who's going to be able to take 5 to 10 to maybe 15 to 20. So that's what I think Sadiq does for them.
Yeah. Guys, you got a pick? Throw it out there.
Yeah.
Go and GB, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this, and I just wanted to make sure. But it's actually our rival, the Baltimore Ravens, picking Vega because we were actually targeting Vega ourselves, and that dude has a nasty streak that it's going to be fun to watch him go up against Derek Harmon and Cam and all that. And
somebody released actually video of that too, like in college, of Harmon versus Vega too. That's going to be a battle for you.
It's going to be a war, that's for sure. I just didn't think they had the wherewithal to do something like that, but they did. So yeah, my hat's off to them. And you know what? Cleveland's whole draft was great. I mean, shoot,
they need players.
It was.
They could have drafted me.
It better be. It better be. Jesus.
But we've seen Cleveland have good drafts before too. So it's it is what it is.
They did. Greg Newsome was a really good draft pick for them for the last few years, and I think that's one of the developing players that I can say, he's done something for the Browns that kind of can make you say, they got something.
So, I looking at this here. There's two. You guys mentioned Reese dropping, and I do think putting him with the Giants is like because he doesn't need to do and be the man right away. So I like what that fit there too. But I actually think that the Dallas Cowboys got the best defender in the draft in Caleb Downs.
Yeah,
he could be like another version of Woodson at safety from back in the 90s. Where he can roam around the field and he can be that centerpiece to build that defense off of for Dallas. And I hate to say it because I hate the freaking Cowboys, but that to me, and the fact that he dropped a bit because he is a safety, but because of the 12 and 13 personnel that GB was talking about, and that a lot of these teams are going to, like the Rams use it a lot, that safety is becoming more and more important in your defense.
Yeah.
The position is devalued, but when you have a good one, your defense tends to be very good because it allows you to do a lot of things matchup-wise. So I think Caleb Downs and Avil Reese in the NFC East teams, I think were really, really good. And to piggyback what Gabe said about the Browns, I was driving home afterwards, or at least getting in my car. When they picked Casey Concepcion, man, I was pissed. That dude's going to be dynamic. You know what I mean? So, but those are my guys.
So my pick, I'm going to pick just to show I'm not, I'm not keeping 100 is Akeem Messidor for the Chargers, Canadian, Ottawa boy, and he looked great at Miami, and I think he's going to be a real issue. I'm just happy we got Josh Simmons at left tackle, but he's going to be a real problem. So we got one more spot. Judith put Arbel Reese. George, is that I think that's a fair top 5 pick. We don't really. Is there anyone else that you would put over Arbel Reese?
I like to argue.
Of course,
I want to make sure that we get the best of the best going to the best spots. And I'm gonna throw this out there because I said this all offseason. Because this team in particular needed this particular place kind of solidified. but I still don't know if they did it. But if this pick hits, I think it's bigger than what we think, and that's Caleb Banks to Minnesota. The fact that they need a defensive tackle that bad, I was saying all year they don't play the run at all. Like it's like you can run anything on them. Like it was just like, yeah, you didn't want to pass on them because they have great coverage, and that's what their linebackers and their corners did for them. But as far as run protect, they had nothing stopping nothing in the middle. And I think Caleb Banks is going to be one of those players that if he is getting healthy and if he stays healthy and he could, produce and get real good in there, he could be something to talk about. Now, I'm not looking at him as like a Chris Jones, Warren Sapp type. I do see him as more of an underrated defensive tackle in history. Kind of a John Henderson. Anybody know that name? Gives me John Henderson, measurables, big, tall, long, very wide, can take you off the run and easily plug up your middle. The Eagles got Jordan Davis, who kind of reminds me of him as well. So that big, that big stout defensive presence, I feel like they really needed that. That's a pick I would actually, sneak in there, and for that reason.
Yeah, and I can even throw, and when he wants to play, he could be one of the best. But I think his motor on and off was the issue. But and one of the guys that I actually would not have mind the Steelers taking, but obviously was not a need. But going to the Bears was great. Was Dylan Thieneman from Oregon? Mm-hmm. That dude is going to be an absolute Pro Bowler eventually, maybe even by his rookie year. That guy's an absolute animal. With as far as his athletic ability, his instincts. Picked off our third-round quarterback there, in the game one year to seal the game for Oregon.
Sure did.
But no, he's really, really good. So I liked him a lot no matter where he went. But I think Bears losing Brisker to us, and then the Bears drafted him, I thought was very, very solid.
So, guys, one of the things I always find interesting about the Steelers is that, like, just this, you want to talk about consistency. Like, it's just amazing to me that you've had 3 coaches since 1969. They were all young defensive coaches.
Yeah.
And like, what's that feel like when you know that, like, I mean, we've been pretty good the last, 13 years with Andy Reid, but what's that like when you know that your organization doesn't make, rash decisions?
Simply put, we're fucking spoiled. That's the problem. That's the problem. The fans expect it now. Like they don't even appreciate the consistency. They call the consistency mediocrity. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know about you guys, but we haven't had a losing season since 2003. That's crazy. Like think about that for a second. That's like mind blowing. You know what I mean? And it's so commonplace. It's so consistent that. And don't get me wrong. I am one of the fans also who's like, man, can we just get over the one playoff? The hump. Yeah. Winning a playoff game. I'm in the same boat, but you have to be in that position to even be in the playoffs. And the one thing that was the most impressive thing about Coach Tomlin's tenure is that he literally coached one game out of playoff contention. His 19 years. Yep. 19 years. It was against the Dolphins. It was one game. It was the last game of the season. It was the only game that we were out of playoff contention his whole freaking tenure. That's insane. Mm-hmm. Like every game went to the last. Every season went to the last freaking game. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane to me. Every single one. So you know what that tells me? That tells me that those dudes played for him from beginning to end, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was Duck Hodges that was our quarterback or Ben Roethlisberger. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They was playing for Mike T. So, dude, what you got, bro?
I'll give you even one other stat that's mind-boggling too. The Steelers have not finished last in the division since 1988.
Jesus.
Yeah, 5-11. We were
5-11. I remember that year.
Gotta be
We have
38
not.
years.
We have not finished last. And by the way, because it's funny, because every year the Steelers are going to have a losing record and finish last. If you read all the the
You read it
national
every
media,
year. It's the same old, same old.
including this year, we're the Steelers have got worse and all this stuff too. But what it does, guys, is it does breed spoiledness. And I'm going to tell you that when we call our fans spoiled, the ones that scream back the loudest are the ones that are spoiled.
Yes,
But it's an appreciation of consistency. Now, I understand and I get like the playoff drought. It sucks. It 100% sucks. And the only year outside of the 2016 run that we lost to New England in the playoffs that they had a legit chance to win the Super Bowl was in 2017, and that was the game that we lost to the Jaguars right after the Jesse Cauditt game when we should have beat New England the first time.
Same year we lost 0.
Yeah, the same exactly. That team had the talent because you remember that we also had Antonio Brown, Martavius Bryant, Juju Smith-Schuster, and we had we had a young TJ Watt. We had that team was loaded. But I'm going to tell you this, what I appreciate is every year we have meaningful football through December. And that's I love that. And you know what, when we, guys, if you remember when we were on sports nights and everything too, you can see them, with it being Cleveland fans that haven't had that success. They like, I would trade what you guys have in a heartbeat. It's the appreciation that because they haven't had that, even though Cleveland's had some really good stories, they've had some good players here and there, but they haven't had the on-the-field success. They would kill for the Pittsburgh Steelers success. They would kill to have Mike Tomlin as their coach. We're over here bitching and moaning over 9 and 8 seasons and taking Duck freaking Hodges to the brink of the playoffs, and we're pissed about that. And then when we get to the playoffs against Josh Allen in Buffalo with Mason freaking Rudolph, we're bitching and moaning because we lost the game. It's like, you're serious? Like, there are so many times that Coach Tomlin dragged the team into the playoffs that had no business being
Mitchell Trubisky, bro. Like,
look, listen, old Ben Roethlisberger against y'all. There was no business. Our team had. We got excited for a little bit when TJ got the fumble. We went up 7-0. That Steelers team had no business being on the field with that Chiefs team.
Yeah. Look, I watched that game with the whole objective view of like the Steelers can actually no.
The only way that could have happened if the Steelers could have beat, and I think Gabe, we were talking about this, is one of those shenanigans games where just like some weird shit happens. That was the only chance. That was the only chance we had a shot. I'm sitting there going, there's no way you do that. There's no way 900-year-old Ben beats Mahomes in his prime. There's no way Mason Rudolph with no TJ Watt goes into Buffalo and wins. No. But yet those are playoff losses, and they are. But those, in my opinion, you don't necessarily count that against them because you had no shot. You had no shot. Jacksonville, that one of the 2 worst Steeler games in my lifetime.
That sucked.
In the 94 Chargers championship game. That was what it is. But so I appreciate it.
I got to bring up old stuff, Dudak.
I'm sorry.
GB is hurt.
I am hurt that game, bro. GB is hurt. John, to answer your question, to wrap up, my answer your question is I'm very thankful that the Steelers are competitive every year because unfortunately we see the opposite in our town with baseball. I'm just very thankful that the Steelers are competitive every year.
I'll say this: I'm a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. We haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. Canada was 100 years old. There were 6 teams in the bloody league, and it's atrocious. But like, I know what you mean about spoiled because Chiefs Twitter, you got people who rip apart the general manager and the coach, and I'm like, the year before Patrick Mahomes started, we lost to Marcus Mariota catching his own pass. And then, like, however many years later, we're, like, still a dynasty. Yeah, we had a down year last year, but they just get on everything. I'm like, it could be worse. Like, it could be worse. I remember, like, I have a Steve Bono jersey in my bloody closet. Because, like...
Fun fact, he was a Steeler, too?
Yes, yes. Yeah, he had that one good year, and then we couldn't get anything in the playoff. But we had some heartbreaking losses, too, and no Super Bowl success up until Mahomes got here. So I am definitely grateful for sure and appreciate it. Like I try not to be spoiled. It's just like, but I could never imagine 3 championships. It was just like, wow. But
yeah. Listen, you got to enjoy it while you have it. I mean, you may come back for get another run or two with Mahomes or something, man. But yeah, appreciate it while you have it, man.
Let me ask you
that
a
guy's
question.
so competitive.
Speaking of which, because I've always wondered this, what were your guys' initial thoughts when you traded down to get Mahomes with the 10th pick?
We traded up.
Or traded up.
They trade up.
With Buffalo.
Yes.
Which makes it even sweeter.
Yeah, what were your thoughts? Like your initial thoughts? Like, did you guys already?
I was fine with it.
Yeah,
they did. Like, so, like Brett Veach, the story goes, was looking at an offensive lineman from Texas Tech, and then saw the quarterback. Is like, Jesus, this is the best quarterback I've ever seen on tape. And he bugged Andy Reid and the general manager because he was a scout at the time, and we moved up and got him. And I thought, good, because we need a quarterback. I love Alex Smith. He was excellent for us. He really was, but we didn't have that guy that could just like go get it. And we needed that guy. And you watch him, it was like, well, maybe he can. And then like first thing I was like, great, we need a new quarterback. We're not getting over the hump with Smith. We haven't, good teams. We haven't got over the hump. And then, we turned out to be the, greatest draft pick in maybe the history of draft picks.
But like he had godlike talent. It was almost like you can't like, when you see a player get on the field and you know exactly when they get on the field, no matter who they're on the field with, they are just bigger than everybody else. It looks like they son everybody. Like when Ben Roethlisberger first got in there, I know y'all knew y'all had something because it was just that first game when he shrugged off that first and then chucked that pitch, I was like, yeah, if he keep doing shit like that, ain't nobody gonna be able to hold him. Like, in my eyes, that's the best version of Josh Allen that we're going to ever see because at the end of the day, that's exactly who Josh Allen will be. He's going to be a big quarterback who can sling the field, but that's who he has to look up to.
Well, he can run like hell too, though.
I mean, yeah, but do you want to keep doing that at the quarterback position? Not really.
Well, that's why we got rid of BA because Bruce Arians was going to kill Ben because of the way he was playing.
Yeah, buddy. So, godlike talent when you see it. Like, it's just Mahomes was miles in the head of everybody. Like Andy Reid did a lot with Alex Smith and what he had.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is you can only squeeze an orange till all the juice comes out and then squeeze it again and see if something else comes out. It's only so many times you can do that. Mahomes stepped on the field for 20 minutes and I was just like, Alex Smith ain't got to come back out here.
He played a game against Denver because we had already clinched in 2017.
Yeah. And it was
like, huh. All right.
I remember watching.
And then next year, what I think it was against you guys. That was one of the games, his first season, where he had like 6 touchdown passes.
I'll never forget that because I was just like, it's just like I ain't never seen our offensive line play like that. I ain't never seen us just dot up the field like that. It looked unrealistic. Like fantasy league wise, I took us on that game and I was just like, boy, I took the over on accident and won everything. And I was just like,
I was curious about that too, because until Patrick Mahomes, nobody from that Red Raider spread offense did anything in the NFL.
Right.
See Andre Ware, David Klingler, all those guys that came, ones that threw the ball 70. And if I'm not mistaken, Mahomes, I think, had a losing record in college.
Yeah. He wasn't,
what it was, but you know what it was seeing that talent. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, GB, correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember how aggressive, but the Steelers were actually going to look to trade up to get Mahomes.
We were also looking.
They were just not as what I hear. There's obviously not as sold as you guys were on him because they weren't going to offer they weren't jumping up that far to get him. But I think if he would have fell to like 12 or 13, he may have been a Steeler.
He said that.
Yeah.
He said that on the on I think the Kelsey podcast where apparently
Mahomes
he told Matt Nagy gave Mahomes the answers to the test the night before, gave him the plays he had to study before the meeting, so he just crushed it. And then Mahomes said that he called the Chiefs and said, "Hey, listen, if I get to 12 to 13, I'm probably because I know the Saints wanted him, a bunch of teams did, but
he ain't gonna make it past the Saints. They need a quarterback every year, and if they could have had Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Trubisky, they would have took anybody.
Yeah, they needed somebody but when it happened, it was like, great, like, okay, we're moving forward. But it was really once he stepped on the field. I remember I saw a play in Atlanta in a preseason game where he threw the ball like 70 yards in the air and perfect dime to Tyreek Hill. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah, let's see how this goes.
Hey, that was like some old Tecmo bullshit where you run to the bottom of the thing going and just.
Oh, he did and that whole first year, like the year that if we had a defense like that could stop anything, cover a tight end at all, we would have probably won the I think we wouldn't have won another Super Bowl, but we lost to the friggin' Patriots. But the only thing that stopped him is he didn't have great offensive lines in the Super Bowl. But he's just been. You couldn't have asked for anything better. Jesus.
Yeah.
And watching him play is just unbelievable. It's amazing. Like just because we went to see him twice. I've been to Kansas City 3 times, but we saw him unfortunately last year against the Texans, but the year before against the Bucks, where he just he threw this pass to DeAndre Hopkins, who had like 3 guys on him, and just absolutely perfect.
Perfect, like in real time.
Oh my God, it was like
if you've ever been on a football field and you've ever watched the trajectory of a ball and how it can just it was almost like the perfect baseball changeup. That bitch just fell off a table. In every sense of the word, it came over DeAndre Hopkins' shoulder and just literally walked into his hands. I was like, I ain't never seen no shit like that in my life. And I've been playing football for years, and I've been watching it for even longer. It's just like something.
There's times, and you know what? And I can tell you from the receiver perspective, sometimes those are the easiest catches to make. The hardest ones are the ones when you're wide ass open. There's nobody around you. But yeah, Mahomes, listen, he's impressed me. He's fun to watch as somebody who really doesn't root for the Chiefs, really don't care about the Chiefs, but I care about good football. And I watch the Chiefs to watch good football, especially on the offensive side. Now, granted, the defense has balled out a little bit, especially in their last couple Super Bowl runs. But, yeah, watching Mahomes is special, man. The things that he does and the throws that he makes as a football guy that appreciates good ball, and I know GB appreciates good ball. Listen, we enjoy watching him, just not against us. He's had a lot of success with us, but against us. But it is what it is. He's had a lot of success against a lot of people.
I will say this: I was not mad when y'all lost Tyreek Hill. I wasn't mad.
No,
it was the right move at the right time.
Yeah,
we turned that into a championship. Yeah. That was the draft. The one thing is though, we have a couple of common enemies. I don't like the Cincinnati Bengals. No. The Bengals to me are like the Bills. They get a lot of undeserved credit. The Bills are the same way. I'm like, you haven't won anything. Like, where do you get off saying? And the Bungles haven't won anything. Ever. And they talk like they've won a lot. And I'm not I'm not a big Ravens fan, especially especially after especially after the AFC Championship year where they talked so much shit and they just couldn't take it. We knew it was going to happen. That was exactly what our defense was better. Trust me, we knew it. But so there's a couple comments, but I hate the Bungles. I do not like the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't like. I just think that
we obviously don't like them too. But I will tell you this: it's the same thing. There's a hatred but a respect for Baltimore in this city.
Yes,
because
I respect them. I respect them.
Well, because of the bloodbath. Excuse me, that the Steelers and Ravens have gone through. The state of Ohio is a little bit different. Now, I listen. I like, as the guys on the Nights Sports Nights podcast are great. I can't wait to have them on our pod. Those are Browns fans that I like to talk about. I like to talk to. But there is the Browns obviously beat the Steelers in the playoffs where there's no fans in the stadium. And listen, they beat their ass. Pouncey snaps the ball 500 feet over Ben's head, all this stuff. But they get this false sense of accomplishments, and more or less with the Bengals, because they did make the one run with Burrow, and it's funny. It's humorous. And I'm more talking about the Bengals than I am the Browns, because I think the Browns are just like the Pirates in a sense. They're like a sleeping giant. If they ever get a contender, that city's going to go absolutely apeshit, just like we did for a few years with the Pirates.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I don't hate Cleveland as much as I hate Cincinnati in a sense, because it's a false sense of
Accomplishment.
greatness or accomplishments, right?
Yeah.
They win a few games 45-48 because their defense stinks, and they think they're like the New England Patriots of winning 3 out of 4 or something. So, yeah,
They
Hey, GB, what's that smoky meme?
They beat us one time. We had the worst half. The Patrick Mahomes had the worst half of football he ever had, and they're talking about it forever. I'm like, we beat you the next year. We told your mayor to go to hell. And who puts chili on spaghetti? It's not right.
Anybody ever had that before?
No, I would never
I've
do
been
that. I
broken
would never
enough.
slum it like that.
I've been broke enough. Yeah.
Is that spaghetti on some like oodles and noodles type noodles or what?
Hey, look, man,
Y'all-
shit happened in
y'all
the
be-
cabinet. I was 10. You know.
Y'all be smoking that Joe Burrow.
Hey.
Y'all be smoking that Joe Burrow.
Listen, I got a question for y'all. And awful football topic for 2 seconds. If I were coming to Kansas City, because that's one of my bucket lists to come to the stadium, man, where am I going for some good barbecue, man?
Where we eating?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Gates, but no, don't let George talk. George from Texas, and he doesn't.
Hell, I don't know.
He doesn't respect
George, I'm
any of
going
them.
to about Texas barbecue then. Yeah,
Terry
Blacks.
tasty barbecue.
So
Terry Blacks.
I like in Kansas City, I like Gates barbecue. Have the I like, it's really good.
That guy. If I'm in
I like
City.
Jack Stacks is really good. You got to go to Jack Stacks.
You got to go to Jack.
Get the
Stacks.
beans. Get the beans.
What makes it good? Is it the sauce? Is it the smoke of the meats or what?
It's all
different.
that.
So hold
Yeah,
on. You cannot ask a Canadian about meat in the state.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all.
Have you been to North Carolina? Have you been to Texas?
I've been
No,
to
in Kansas City though.
I rest my case. You've only been.
I've been in Kansas City though.
I have too. I've been to all these places, and I live in one. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm biased because, of course, Texas.
Way biased.
It's different from everybody else's barbecue, so I don't count it.
It is.
So at the end of the day, GB talking about Terry Blacks. He ain't been here in a while. Because I'm telling you right now, Terry Blacks gets shit on by Hutchins these days. You come down here, have one Texas Twinkie, and I'm having you out by somebody, man. Look, I gotta go down there.
I'm all for it. Hey, I had Terry Black's brisket a couple years ago, and I was like, man. And I've been trying. I'm gonna be real with you. I've been trying to replicate that thing.
That shit's so hard.
That thing ever since, bro.
Pause. That's some glazed meat right there, boy. I ain't gonna hit. Look, that meat moist. Pause twice. Okay. Okay. We're not doing that.
Hey, bro, real, bro. That brisket. Whoo! Lord have mercy.
The one I was gonna say too. The first year, the first 2 years I went to Kansas City, I drove with a buddy of mine, and it's 16 hours from my driveway to there. It's a long ass drive. The first year we went there, we went to Joe's, which is known for the Z-Man, and it was really good. It was good. The sauce is good. I brought all the barbecue sauce home. That's 1 year at the Super Bowl. My wife, she does the grilling because if I touch her grill, she'll be like, and I'm like, works for me. Food's good. She put we had the Joe's sauce on the ribs. Beautiful. Q39 is underrated. Some people don't like it. I tried it. It's really good. But yeah, if you go to Kansas City too, check out the Negro League Baseball Museum if you've never been.
Yes.
Yeah, Bob, if you're a baseball fan, and try and get there when Bob Kendrick, who's the president, try and get there and get him to tell the story because that guy, oh my God, it's great experience. Yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You said the wife doesn't allow you to touch the grill?
No, it's a charcoal grill. She's like, she does the grilling. I'm not a good griller. I can make a lot of food, but I don't do good grilling.
Listen, everybody got their thing. I was just making sure I heard that right.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, believe me, what comes out of that grill, I'm not complaining about shit. I mean, she made the ribs at the Super Bowl. I mean,
listen, I'm not saying that your wife is not a good cook. Obviously, from what you're saying, she's a wonderful cook and it's awesome. But I'm like, but the grill is like a man's
I know it's a man's thing, but like, hey,
I got my smoker, my Blackstone right out my basement door, man. That's my haven right there. I got the TV.
Yeah.
The TV's coming back this week because my daughter's coming home from college. Like that is like my heaven.
Yeah, I don't.
My wife won't even cook hot dogs. She's not even allowed to cook hot dogs on my Blackstone, bro. Like, don't touch it.
Yeah,
don't touch it.
It's hers. And that's I'd like us to get a smoker, but no, if you go to Kansas City, it's the stadium environment is.
So I was talking to a Bears fan on day 2 of the draft, and he said how much he enjoyed the draft when it was in Kansas City because it was like a barbecue.
Oh yeah.
He said the atmosphere in Pittsburgh was great, and he goes, it rivaled what it was in Kansas City because we're in a big parking lot, but like he said, he doesn't know which one's better. He said they were both great, but he liked that barbecue picnic atmosphere that was in Kansas City. How like the stage was like sunken down a little bit too, and
that would have been at Union Station, I think, where they had
it.
Yeah, wherever it was. Yeah.
That was where the draft was. But if you're going to, say if you're going to tailgate at Arrowhead, it's probably one of the greatest places in the world to go.
I'm looking forward to it. That's on a bucket list for me, bro.
You don't have to know nobody. Like, we got in the truck. We piled into the truck. So this is literally how last year went because first off, it was the cold game in December.
Oh, God, we have to hear about this in the cold. It's Texas. He was, oh my God, it was brutal.
And you're going to hear about it every time because motherfuckers froze his balls off out there. It was cold in the bitch. And y'all being from Pittsburgh and all these northern places, y'all can keep that shit because I don't even look. I'm not going to ever just, we got 300-degree weather. Y'all don't want that shit, so don't say me about the cold. I don't want that either. But I will say this. Literally pulling up in Kansas City, like we were just looking for a parking spot. They told us, y'all can go park down here. Pull the truck in, stop the truck. Literally right behind the truck, there's a chili cook-off. They're like, hey, come over here. Y'all got to try the chili. We didn't even get out the car good. We eating chili.
Because I was wearing the same jacket as the woman who was cooking the chili. Literally. The exact same jacket from 1995. The exact same one.
So it's a
and they like
they'll
that's
love
good, man. That's good.
They'll love you. Like, and we don't like, and Kansas City doesn't have a bad rap for really getting on fans. I think, especially if you're like, I haven't been to a Bills game or anything like that, but like, I went to the Bears game that Taylor Swift showed up with. Bears fans were cool. One guy left during halftime because he was just beating shit out of him. But like, it's a cool spot.
I'm gonna tell you this. That's look at Pittsburgh. If you're not the term is jag-off, right? If you're not a jag-off to us, we're not going to be the same to you. I went to the Christmas Day game against the Ravens, and nothing. Great, there's drunks that do dumb stuff and say dumb stuff, but right, GB. It's like if you come to Pittsburgh, man, like, and I watched a lot of the as I was doom scrolling, a lot of people from my town what they thought about the draft, and they said the same thing. There was no issue, and we heard a lot of smack talking at the draft, but it was all in like good fun, like people kind of giving you like stuff. So there's never a problem here unless you create the problem.
I want to go to Pittsburgh because I want to watch the Penguins. I want to go see the Penguins play.
I live in Dallas, and if
you're not a Penguins fan?
No, we lost in overtime.
Oh yeah, I know.
So how about this? How about this? You want to talk about 2 kicks in the dick, one in one left nut, one in right nut. We lost that, and I just saw a highlight while we were watching. The Cardinals robbed a home run and would have been a walk-off. That's what happened in Pittsburgh tonight. We got robbed with a walk-off win with the Pirates, and the Flyers took us out in overtime. Shit.
Nobody's had it tougher, I think, other than the Raptors, but than the Toronto sports fan last year. We were that close, So, but that's a classic Toronto way to lose. That's it. Yeah. That's the one. But. I've always wanted to go to Pittsburgh. I always because I've been a big Sidney Crosby fan, obviously Captain Canada, and but like I want to see your ballpark too. That thing.
Best baseball park in the world, man.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's sick. It's not too far. It's only 6 hours for me, and that's not too bad of a drive.
Right.
I tried to get this motherfucker to go to Pittsburgh last year. He didn't want to
No.
go.
I said bullshit. That's not. No, I said let's go to Kansas City. But I think
That was the thing. Like we're traveling guys from 2 different parts of the world, so it's kind of like we'll meet in the middle a lot of times and try to do something different. He's coming to Texas this year, so he's gonna look. I bet you I'm gonna have y'all on after he comes, and we gonna see if that barbecue shit still lasts the way it's lasting right now. Look,
listen, I'm an equal opportunist. I'll eat whatever barbecue you got. Like I don't care if I'm Texas, North Carolina, Missouri. If it's brisket, put it in front of me. I'll enjoy it. But
I finally think I'm nowhere near the KC or maybe even the Texas stuff. I'm telling you something. I've got myself a pretty good damn brisket recipe, like how I cook mine too. It's like it took me about like 9, 10, 11 times to get this perfected. I mean, they were all good, but I think now it's like with the butcher wrapping it and listen, I like it. I like it a lot. So I love me some brisket. I'm actually probably going to go get some this weekend, actually, and just keep it on hand because summer's here. It's getting here. I'm going to start doing those overnight smokes, man. I can't wait.
Oh, okay. So that means I get to do a road trip up there to Pittsburgh and try some meat.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
Bring it up, man. Listen, GB and I are both like grill masters, if you will, on the smoker and stuff.
You sound like good guys to know.
A couple GM grill masters. I'll be the test. And then you an IPA guy too. Turn them up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bro, listen, IPA. That's why we got the beer reviews. I mean, GB doesn't do as much anymore, but like that's why we do the beer reviews because whenever you have listen, check this out. Cinderlands, the pick is in is what I was having earlier. This is a really cool IPA just to have. When you're talking ball for me, man, having a beer and talking ball with you guys or anybody, man, this is what it's about, man. And this is a great time. And we got people watching, hanging out with us. It's a great time with everybody, man. This is what it's about. And man, the meats. I re-seasoned the Blackstone ready to go, man. I can't wait, man. I'm going out this weekend to get some meats and put in my freezer so I can just have them whenever I need them.
Nice.
If I come up, I'll probably bring you some deer sausage for you to keep.
There you go. Let's get it.
Well, when my dad was alive, he used to hunt deer. We used to get deer jerky a lot too.
We got it all down here.
Deer jerky, man. Deer jerky was good
it's
stuff.
For sale. It's just it's down the street at a Buc-ee's.
See, I bring you maple syrup and butter tarts.
Absolutely.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I guess we're going to get out of here, but we appreciate it. We love talking football. We wish you guys all the best. I'm sure we'll talk again. But all the best on the season. Beat those Bungles, baby. Beat them.
We
beat them like they're dogs.
And we're in the final stages of putting together. We're going to be GB and I are going to do. We're going to start around. But in Pittsburgh East, it's Iran because they kind of slang around the NFL with the fans. And I want you guys to be able to come on and represent the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. But we're going to have in the Burgh Cave, we're going to have fans from every single team. Obviously, I want the guys from Sports Night to represent the Browns. So we got some guys. I think actually a funny thing is I got to talk to Taylor because actually as I was leaving, I saw her and I was going to say hi to her. Who were on, but the Chargers were on the clock, so I'm not bothering her, man. Her team's on the clock in the first round, but love to have her on for the Chargers. So
we're talking about having her on too,
so it'd be great to have you guys on representing Chiefs, but we're going to have every single fan base represented, and it's going to be a great time because I want to keep building this big virtual man cave community, which is what the Burgh Cave is about, man. I can't wait to have you guys on.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
And
thanks for having us.
And we'll see you in Pittsburgh.
Look forward to it.
Sounds good.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
All right. Peace.